Ecoflow stream devices. I feel like I spend my whole life referring you guys to the various shorts I've made about settings and configuration and all sorts of stuff. So this video is just going to be a compilation video, all of the shorts I've made about the Ecoflow stream series. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. There's loads of stuff like this, loads more coming. I've got some things I'm working on with Ecoflow, and we're going to be bringing you some special stuff, so make sure you stick around and subscribe. This is what you get in the box with the Ecoflow Stream Ultra plug-in solar battery. Of course, you get the unit itself. It comes with a little vanity cover. The Ultra is the one that has 4 MPPTs. So, of course, you get extension cables, 8 of these, so that you've got male to female extensions to reach the panels for the 4 MPPTs. It comes with the tool for the MC4s. It also comes with a wall tether for safety. Comes with the installation guide, which shows that this is a UK specific cable. This connects the battery to the mains, and it of course has no plug on it because of regulations. So this shows in the instructions that this should be permanently hardwired into a breaker. That is the Ecoflow Stream Ultra. Now I'm going to go and unpack the Ecoflow Stream AC Pro. This is what comes in the box with the Ecoflow Stream AC Pro. You obviously get one battery module, 1.92 kilowatt hours, and it comes with the same mains power cable, not terminated because it is to be directly wired into a breaker. Comes with the vanity cover, comes with the top tether. Of course, because the AC Pro has no MPPTs on it. Oh, if I turn this around, nothing on there at all. There are no MC4 extension cables. This is just AC. And if you want this to be an extension to another unit, like the Stream Ultra I've got here, and you want to connect these together, then you will have to separately buy this parallel cable, which is about £20 from Ecoflow. And then this connects these two together without having to wire both of them into the breakers individually. This is how you charge your Ecoflow stream batteries on a time of use tariff. So you want to charge them cheaply overnight. You want to press the plus in the top right hand corner, press new automation. Then we're going to start with the condition. We're going to say a time every single day. We're going to set the time so that it starts charging every single day around about midnight. We're going to tick that. We're going to tick that, and we're going to press save, and then we're going to say action, and we're going to press home so it charges all of our batteries, backup reserve, and we want that to be set to 100 fully charged, and we'll press save. And now we create that, and now we know that every single day at midnight it's going to be charging to 100%. And to do the reverse, we're going to hit new automation. We're going to press condition, which time we want it to stop charging, which in our case, we want it to be about 6 a.m. We're going to press save, and then we're going to go action, home, backup reserve, and then we're going to set this down to 1%, and that means the charging will be finished. Confirm that. You see the charging starts at midnight, finishes at 6 o'clock. That's how you charge Ecoflow Stream batteries. Not sure which Ecoflow Stream product is the one for you? Well, figure out your needs. How many solar inputs do you need? How many AC sockets do you need? Are you going to be adding on additional batteries afterwards? And that will determine which one of these products you need. This chart is organized in the most expensive to the cheapest version that they do in this stream range. And of course, it goes from 4 solar inputs down to 0 and 2 AC sockets down to 0 as well. And then the parallel link ultimately means that you can add more batteries onto the back of this. You can piggyback more, daisy chain more, however you want to express it. So, of course, with the Ultra Pro and AC Pro, you can add secondary batteries after that. And you could add a max or an AC, but that will be the last battery in the chain. You can't link an infinite number of maxes or an infinite number of ACs. You'd have to choose from the more expensive ones. Ultimately, they're all IP65. They've all got the same battery capacity until the XL comes out. Today I've been doing my off-grid testing, and one of the quirks that I noticed was that my Stream AC Pro was not receiving any of the charge. All of the solar charge was going into the Stream Ultra. I tried powering it off, powering it on. I could see that my Stream Ultra was getting plenty from the 2 solar panels that are plugged into it. And then it finally occurred to me, when it was in off-grid mode, the Stream AC Pro was doing nothing. It was completely redundant. And the Stream Ultra was the only one that was actually operating, despite them being connected by the parallel link cable. It was only when I lugged them back round into my garage, hooked it back up to my solar inverter through the microinverter input. Once it was connected to the grid, to the mains, now we're still just charging from solar, but it is sharing, it's distributing the solar charge between the AC Pro and the Stream Ultra so that they can both charge. Should you plug your Ecoflow Stream Power battery plug-in solar power system directly into a 3-pin plug socket? No, you shouldn't really. There's several technical and regulatory reasons why you shouldn't really be doing that, and it's a bit naughty. But I wanted to test it out, and so don't try this at home. And if I blow up anything in my home or any of the equipment, I do so at my own risk. I've popped a 3-pin plug onto one of the cables. Because I've got 2 units, it came with 2 cables. So one is hardwired in the correct way that it should be. And now I've got the other one plugged in here in my home office, powering my PC and all my equipment. I've turned it on the app. I've turned the feed-in control toggle on, so it can't feed any power from those batteries back out through the plug sockets and back into the grid. But it is set so that these batteries will charge on a cheap overnight tariff rate. So this is a kind of workaround if you want to kind of be on the fringes of what is technically allowed. Are you ready to see what the inside of the Ecoflow Stream series looks like? Well, there's going to be a full video coming about this, but as you can see, there's lots and lots of screws and clips and panels and fittings and all sorts of bits and pieces, and a lot of waterproofing. Some really nice gaskets to keep the IP65 ingress rating, and of course, we've got some battery cells in here that we need to still uncover, and it is fighting me every step of the way. This thing is actually built better than I anticipated. I thought plastic shell, yeah, okay, it's got a beefy heatsink, that's pretty decent aluminium, but I was skeptical, and Ecoflow actually is over delivering on this one, so stay tuned to the channel for the full video. Ecoflow really are pushing out the updates thick and fast when it comes to this new Stream series. Here's the latest one. The backup reserve feature is now based on each device individual state of charge instead of the system's average state of charge. They fixed the issue where the battery might feed power to the grid and solar power was wasted in certain cases. Fixed the issue where the PV ports shut off when the state of charge reaches the charge limit, and improve the charging strategy to keep battery state of charges in the system relatively balanced. That number 4 was certainly something that I noticed and paid attention to. And Ecoflow are really taking feedback on board. You send them something, they really are considering it and seeing how they can tweak the updates and the firmware and the software behind it, which is great because the hardware seems pretty solid so far. After patiently waiting, the Shelly Ecoflow smart meter has arrived, and this should unlock the full potential of the Ecoflow Stream system. So let's just have a quick look, see what's inside the box. Oh dear, sorry, terrible camera work as always. So we've got some instructions there. Oh nice, yeah. So we got 3 CT clamps, yeah, 120 amp, nice. Plenty. And then how do we get this out? Is this the worst YouTube video you've ever seen? It's a DIN rail mounted meter. So you pop this in your consumer unit. Hopefully you've got space. You can wire in the 3 CT clamps. Nice. Okay, let's do it. Welcome update from Ecoflow on their app this morning. For those people who want to charge at a cheap rate overnight on a time of use tariff, Here, if we click on settings and we go down to operating mode, previously you had AI, now there's two different AI modes. And then I was running on self-powered mode because I don't trust AI to do exactly what I want it to do, and I'm a control freak. And now they've added custom mode. So if we tap on there and tasks, you can see scheduled charging. This does something really good. Not only can you set the percentage you want it to charge, if you want it to charge on solar, grid and solar, whatever, and then time periods, of course, but you can also, if we change this to grid, what you can do is you can change the charge rate. So you don't have to have it charging at the maximum 1.2 kilowatts. You can now dial that down in 100 watt increments. I hope that's helpful for you. This really simplifies the process, so we don't have to use those weird automations to use a kind of workaround with the home backup reserve. This is a much cleaner way to do it, and I've had a whole load of questions about how to get your two inverters to run nicely with each other. Both solar inverters, both with battery systems. Well, here's my experience. I've tried a few different methods. You can see behind me there, that's the Ecoflow Stream Ultra X, and that is connected into the mains on its own circuit. Over here, I've got my Sunsynk inverter with these Dynas batteries, and hopefully in the background you can see currently the inverter here is feeding the house with 842 watts. Now, if I just jump over to my Ecoflow app, you can see that it is doing 0 at the moment. So every inverter will be different. It will ramp up and down and be responsive in a different way. And so you won't know. There are some good things that you can do with different modes on Ecoflow. So you can, for example, going on the wrong thing. So you could, for example, change this to semi-automated monitoring, and then I can just have the Ecoflow just putting in 300 watts all the time, and then my Sunsynk inverter can ramp up and down depending on the load. That is one way around it, but of course, as you can see from my system, the Sunsynk inverter seems to be a lot more responsive, and so picks up the slack, and then the Ecoflow does anything that the Sunsynk can't do, and you can set it to do a base load. There's many options there. Most of the time it's not advisable to have these two different inverters and different battery systems fighting each other, and in theory you could have this one discharging into the Sunsynk and kind of a loop spiral, death spiral almost, of it consuming and drawing more power than it needs and transferring energy from this battery down to those batteries there, and then round and repeat and repeat and repeat. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work that way, at least with the monitor that I've got. I've got the Shelly smart meter here, and that it's the Pro 3EM, and although that's fairly responsive, the signals have to come from the 3 CT clamps up to the Shelly, up to Shelly cloud, across to the Ecoflow cloud, back down to the inverter, and the Sunsynk has just one CT clamp hardwired into it, no wireless lag, anything else. And so despite it being a 9 kilowatt inverter rather than the 1200 watt inverter in the Stream Ultra X, you would anticipate this to be a bit quicker because it doesn't have all that wireless lag and cloud stuff. That's my experience of this specific system, but each system will differ, and so you will have to test for yourself. Hope that's... I get comments on the channel all the time about Ecoflow Stream owners who are unhappy that you can't hook up your existing power stations, they might be Ecoflow or other branded, and you can't transfer the power into the Ecoflow Stream system. Well, I've messed around with a few different possibilities. Now, the Ecoflow Stream MPPT voltage is a bit too high. Both the startup voltage and the operating voltage, you really need over 20 volts to input some DC power into the Ecoflow Stream device. And there's no easy way of extracting 20 volts from one of these devices. However, if like me, you have several of these cables because you have several Stream devices, you should whack a 3-pin plug on the end, not to plug into your home circuit, of course. We would never do that. Safety first, Your Honour. but you can quickly change this cable, and you can pop it into your portable power station. And then before you do it, before you turn on the AC circuit, go into your Ecoflow stream settings, go to automations, set your backup reserve to 100%. And as long as you've got your backup reserve set to 100%, this will only draw power. And so then you can safely plug it in, turn the AC circuit on. Depending on your power station, the two that I've tried, they both have a safety cutout anyway. So I did actually try and feed power from the Ecoflow stream into the battery. It didn't like that. It cut off the circuit. It turned off the AC circuit and isolated that. So set your automation to 100%. And as you can see, I'm now charging at 1200 watts. So that was at 100%. You can see it's got 3 hours and then it will fully charge. And because this unit is the same battery capacity as that unit, this one at the moment is at 10% and it will be fully charged within the next few hours. And then I can change the cable back over, put that back into my house circuit, and then I can start feeding my house from that via that. Does that all make sense? Pop some questions and comments below.